All right. Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're hailing from, or when you see this presentation later on. I would like to say welcome to Global Chamber Dallas. Our meetup today, my name is Stephanie Austin. I am the Executive Director for Global Chamber Dallas Fort Worth. I would like to definitely introduce my board members while they're here. They are phenomenal, so I have to introduce them. They didn't know I was going to do this, but I am. We have Anthony Piccolo. He is our board chair. He is awesome, phenomenal, thebomb.com. He's just a blessing. I just can say that. We have Nelson. He has been our executive chair and he is awesome as well. He has a wealth of knowledge, connections. He's a very he's a warm and friendly person who loves connecting people and love meeting with you all. We also have Prosper. Prosper is wonderful before he leaves. Prosper works with Bright Balance, and he is from Zimbabwe, but he's here in Dallas, probably because sometimes he's back and forth. We appreciate him. He's also a wonderful asset to our executive advisory board. We have Diana. Diana, I'm not going to mess up your last name. I'm just going to say Diana. Diana's with, she's the vice provost at Dallas College. She is wonderful as well. We appreciate her and her partnership here with us with Global Chamber. She's also on our advisory board. We have who else? We have Michael Walker. He's on our advisory board. He's part of the Young Global Leaders. He's also with Austin Global Solutions. So is Lillian. And also Michael's in Zimbabwe as well as Lillian. They're phenomenal. And the other person who's a member who doesn't, I mean, he's on our board, but just because, the association, he's wonderful, is Trevor. Trevor is also with performance scoring. Anthony Piccolo is the CEO of performance scoring. You will have to definitely connect with him just to learn more about it. It will be an asset to your organization. I'm not just saying that because he's here. It has been an asset. And so therefore, and it's not a huge cost to your organization. It's very fractional and it saves you money. That's my pitch. So
Love it.
welcome, welcome, welcome. And also all of our other people who have joined us today. We thank you so much. We have two special guests today. We have Valerie Ballard. She's the CEO of the Tiny Builders. Am I saying that correctly? Oh, you're on mute.
O-
You're on mute.
Operation Tiny House.
Operation Tiny House. And we have Kelly, who is the CEO of Women Leading Technology. Her and Valerie are partnering also on the Operation Tiny House, but Women Leading Technology has always talked about building tiny houses, and they have built tiny houses. But I'll save all that other tidbit for later on. But again, thank you so much for joining us. We meet once a month. We have different topics that we discuss, and I was just honored that these two ladies had agreed to be on the panel. So without further ado, I'm going to share my screen, my PowerPoint I have here. There we go. And the topic today is breaking barriers. And then breaking barriers and ending homelessness. So we know that ending homelessness is a huge feat, correct? And it's like an elephant in the room. You can't do it all at one time. But these two ladies, Valerie Ballard and Kelly Flowers, have found a way where they can do a bite at a time. And they love the Lord. They're women of God. They love the Lord. They are in the minority in regards to how many women are in development. So we're not talking about the DEI, that's a sensitive subject right now, but we're talking about they are the minority. They are the minority in being Black women, Black American women in the development phase. So I want to share a little bit about the mission of what Global Chamber is. Um, Global Chamber, we accelerate across borders and trades. I got my screen over here. Let me stop sharing for just a second because I don't like turning my head to the left. So let's turn it to the right here. Okay, there we go. And back to my Zoom. Okay, share. Sorry, I was turning sideways and I don't want to be doing that the entire time. So there we go. All right, there we go. So as I mentioned, Global Chamber, we accelerate business across borders. We are in 525 metros in 195 countries. We are engaged with top executives and leaders with warm connections. We also have entrepreneurs from people who are just starting up to Fortune 500 organizations. And so we grow business and create success to change the world. That's what we do. Our vision is to make it simple. Be effective leadership requires understanding, resilience, creativity. Diversity is essential for competing successfully globally. And when we say diversity, you got to have an array of different people partnering together, different resources, different faith, different beliefs, different nationalities. Diversity is not optional, it's necessary. Our values, we have global connections. Success depends on relationships. And in order for us to have these relationships, we have to be present. And so many times people wonder, why is my business not growing? Why is my business not thriving? You can't do that unless you're networking, right? And also, in order to network, others have to be willing to bring you along. I believe a great leader and a great person who's growing their business know how to bring other people along, not just your friend or not just anyone else that you say I can help. And if you're willing to go along with me and ride, right? So I call those my ride or die people. Leadership requires understanding, resilience, and creativity. Also, we got to understand we're not going to always agree. We're going to disagree. I like thinking outside the box. I like that Global Chamber allows different people to share their thoughts and their perspective. And sometimes there's things that we don't think of when we're like, aha, this is an aha moment. Never thought of that. And it's a great opportunity. Equity and inclusion, we're committed to safe, inclusive space across race, gender, age, religion, identity, and experience. So when you partner with Global Chamber, you'll see the diversity. It reminds me, I grew up in New York. And so because I'm from New York, we lived in a building that went up to the 20th floor. We didn't have 13 because, that's superstitious. And so in my building, and growing up, I grew up with Hispanics in my building, meaning it wasn't Hispanic back then. It was Puerto Rican, Dominican, Italian, African, Jewish, Black, white, Asian, Indian, all nationalities. So when I grew up, that's what I saw. And when I talked to my friends, we all then talk about the same things. They shared about the cultures in their family. And so therefore I was able to be exposed to more and going to different events. That's what Global Chamber is. You have that diversity here. We value people, recognize everyone unique skills, passion, and identity that benefits us all. As I mentioned to you, Global Chambers in 525 countries. Our reach extends to over 100 million leaders in 525 metros to help grow anywhere and everywhere. And our CEO is Doug Brunke, and what he said is a Global Chamber is like doing business across the street. So Valerie, if you want to meet someone that's in New York, or if you want to meet someone that's in California, we have someone within our organization who may have that connection and do that warm introduction. And typically when you're starting your own business, you're doing this cold calling, and sometimes you don't get past the gatekeeper. Global Chamber allows and afford that opportunity. And as I mentioned, we're in 195 countries, North America, South America, Africa, Europe, Asia, and Pacific. So that's who we are. So now enough about Global Chamber. We're going to talk about these two wonderful ladies who are meeting with us today. As I mentioned to you, Kelly Flowers, the CEO and founder of Women Leading Technology. Valerie Ballard is the founder executive of Operation Tiny House. And so I'm not going to read all of this about Kelly. I'm just going to share some of the highlights. One, she's a mom. She has 3 beautiful children. She's a woman of God. She is a visionary. I mean, if you talk to Kelly, she always has it's like boom, boom, boom. I'm like, girl, I can't keep up. And she's always inclusive with her board, with her team, with the people that she meets. She's always trying to figure out, how can I help you? I want to help you. What can I do? And I love her catchphrase at the end. I'm going to let her say it. After she finished meeting with everyone, Kelly, what is the last question that you asked them?
How can I add value to your life?
She asked that at every single meeting, and she generally means that. And when she said that to me when we first met, I was like, wow, no one has ever asked me that. Because many times we're thinking about what can we get and what can we do, but no one's ever said, what can I do and how can I add value to you or your business? And she won my heart from there. And plus she has an outgoing personality as well. Kelly has been honored with prestigious awards, including Women in Technology with Google, Dallas Business Journal, Mission Critical Magazine. She's a recipient of the Joyce Jones Community Service Award. She recognized as a community hero by Jennifer Hudson. She was on the Jennifer Hudson show. She was on the Today Show, not the Today Dallas, but the national one. The one that she recently got that we received today, I must share this. Where is it? Here it goes. She received Kelly, the U.S. Presidential Lifetime Achievement Honor Award. Let's make sure we give her a hand clap, use those emotions, those emojis that are in there. Congratulations, Kelly. We truly appreciate it. Kelly is dedicated to empowering women and girls in a STEM program, which is science, technology, engineering, architect, arts, and mathematics. And she actively works to bridge diversity gaps, cultivate future leaders, and promote STEM education. She inspires women globally to become servant leaders and to give back to their community. So welcome, 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 Kelly Flowers. That's who she is. And thank you so much for joining us today. And last but not least, we have Valerie Ballard. So when I was so guess how I met Valerie? Through Kelly. Kelly will whatever she's a Global Chamber member. She just doesn't realize it because she does all these warm introductions anyway. We're about to get her back. Don't worry about that. She's coming back, y'all. She hasn't left us. She's just doing so many things. But she introduced me to Valerie Ballard. And when she introduced me, she was telling Valerie what I did, right? And she was sharing with me what Valerie does. And so again, she wanted to make sure people knew who I was, what I do. It wasn't about, hey, I just need you to meet Valerie, hear what's going on. She made sure we both knew what was going on. So Valerie, she's nearly 40 years of service for North Texas resident. She doesn't even look like she's 40. So we're gonna have to do a fact check on that 40 years. Definitely do that. She's a visionary leader with a passion for real estate and community development. This young lady here she's a developer. And the things that she told me that she was doing, I was like, wow, oh my goodness, it's just out of this world. She's a founder and executive director of Operation Tiny House. She's over 5 years experience in marketing, building, developing, consulting tiny house projects. She built her own tiny house in Dallas, Texas at 29, which that meant that was last year, okay? So it was last year. And she continues to reside there. She secured millions of dollars in sponsorship to revitalize housing in South and East Dallas, focus on developing workforce housing for veteran communities. And you all are going to have to hear the story about the veteran community. We'll talk about that later because I was asking her about it yesterday. And I'm just amazed. I really am. She's currently leading a 100+ unit tiny house community project for veterans experiencing homelessness in the University Hill District. She's developed 5 housing structures and a ranch for park and recreation totaling 23,000 square feet. And she's actively, listen to this, I don't know how she had time to do all the stuff she does, but her and Kelly, I don't think they sleep, actively developing 584 square feet of mixed use and single family housing development in the Dallas area. Now, you all are going to have to make sure you all connect with Kelly and connect with Valerie. Make sure you put your information in the chat, how your name, your LinkedIn, all that good stuff. Kelly and Valerie, make sure you drop all your information in there as well, because now you all's phones and LinkedIn is going to be ringing off the hook. So without further ado here, I won't go to this one. We'll stop sharing. Where are we? Stop sharing. Of course, it's not going to show me to stop sharing. So let's go ahead and get started with our panel discussion here. So Valerie and Kelly, I'm going to go ahead and just allow you all to talk a little bit about other things that you want to share that I may have missed or highlight, or we can go ahead and get started. And we are at 2:16, so we're going to take about, I would say, 30 minutes to kind of have a discussion, and that'll allow about 15 minutes for other people to chime in, ask questions. And again, everyone, please put your information in the chat so we can connect with you, as well as any questions that you may have, and I'll definitely call upon you. Kelly? Valerie, you're going to go
let
first?
Valerie start.
Yes,
Yeah.
Valerie, you're first.
Well, thank you. And I'm so happy to meet all of you. You guys have an awesome organization. This global thing, I'm getting it. I love it. I need to be a member of it, right?
Yes.
So thank you for your invite. Thank you for all the nice things you're saying. Thank you for that opportunity to talk with you today. You know, I'm hoping, and I'm an open book, right? So I love collaboration. I love helping others who may not look like me or come from the same background I came from, but I would love to hear what it is that, I can add value to you and what you're doing. And I'm open to answering any questions you may have. I've just been blessed with this opportunity. I'm kind of a hard-headed entrepreneur, right? I was raised knowing that I was supposed to be an entrepreneur. And when God gives you these talents and he opens up these doors for you, I'm that person that said, no, Lord, that's not the road I want to go down. So people say, if you want to see something humorous, you tell God what you're going to do and what you're not going to do. So I end up doing all of these assignments. You know, I do assignments that God appoints me to do. And it has been in this area of helping people in this nonprofit industry. So I've done food, I've done clothing, you know, I've done training on how to build. I've run a fatherhood initiative for the former president, President Obama. I've done quite a bit, but I am really enjoying this whole real estate thing. It's new to me. They said, oh, you just bought 11 and a half acres. Yeah, so you're now a developer. I'm like, okay, let's go. Let me learn what it's going to be like doing a developer. And I've been blessed to have people like Kelly. You talk about ride or die. I'm so blessed to have people like Kelly who've come beside me and said, oh my God, I would love to do this. And I say, jump in, let's learn together, and let's move the needle, and let's make this thing happen.
That's right. That's right. That's the beautiful thing about it, is that, as you guys, the ones that know me, I meet no strangers ever, which I love. And so Valerie and I have a lot of similarities. We both have the tendency to be gifted with a lot of gifts that God gives us. We both are trying to figure out, like, God, slow it down. You're giving me too many assignments at one time here. You need to slow it down some. Sometimes I'm with her, I'm obedient, and sometimes I'm hard-headed. And so when I'm hard-headed, he does like you're normally, like your parents would do. He got to give you a little tap on the little butt a little bit and be like, look, I told you not to do that. You did it anyway. And so he actually, tells you to stop doing that and just listen and be obedient. And so one of the things that was very interesting when we started originally going into the world of construction and architecture, because I thought it was very important for young girls to be able to learn that skill and those skilled trades, because first of all, it's only 0.5% of Black women that are in architecture in construction. 0.5%. Didn't know 0.5% was even possible, but it is. So, I mean, that's a very low number. And so it was a great opportunity for us to be able to get the girls involved in trying to really just figure out, what is it like to be an architect? What is it like to be in construction? And do it at a very early age. That way they can figure out, what is it that they love to do in life? Is this something that a skill trade that you want to take and, do for the rest of your life? But what was the better way to do it was basically teaming up with Operation Tiny House, Miss Valerie Ballard, who already had the blueprint on how to do it. And so this has been a wonderful partnership. She and I mean, we are like out in, this is my saying, I love to say, we are out in these streets making things happen. And so I absolutely love it. So yeah, that's us.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So Valerie, tell us a little bit about some of the project that you're working on specifically, and how is that going to impact the our unhoused members here in the DFW area?
Right. So I've been building tiny houses and in that homeless space for the past 10 years. Uh, while I was doing the fatherhood initiative, the North Texas Fatherhood Initiative, we would go and partner with other nonprofit organizations to just revitalize homes. And I kept running into a lot of veterans. And I come from a long list of veterans. I've had over 50 members of my family to serve in the military. And I just felt it was extremely just unfair for veterans to fight for our freedom and come back to the United States and be homeless and living under our bridges, right? And on our streets. So I came up with this plan. I had built my own tiny house that I live in. I built my tiny house and I felt like, okay, I could do this again. So I taught the men who were in my fatherhood initiative to build. I taught them how to build. And we built a tiny house on live television in Dallas.
Tell them that story, please.
Yes,
tell the story.
so, craziness, right? So I tell the news anchors, I tell all the news, we're going to build this tiny house. First tiny house in Dallas is going to be built, and we're going to do this in one day. And they were like, we're going to be there to watch it. They showed up at 6 o'clock in the morning with the cameras, live on television, the first tiny house being built. And me and my guys were out there, and all of a sudden, all of these people coming all the way from all parts of our city, it was like a parade. Everybody wanted to see the first tiny house being built. And I started panicking because there was no way we were going to get that tiny house built in one day. And thank you, Lord. He really saved me because the clouds came. And when they called and said, okay, Valerie, we're finna send the crew back to see the final. And I said, don't worry about coming. It's raining. We got to go. And so, but what it told me is that people really cared about veterans. And after that, we were getting money donated to build these tiny houses, and we built those homes. And then we built a small community here in Dallas where people could come to this tiny dining ranch. And you can still see the interview. It's another TV channel. It's Good Morning Texas. You can see that video of the community we built. We built that community so people would see what a community did look like that really honors a veteran.
Wow, isn't that
Valerie,
something?
thank you so much. And oh my gosh, it's like inspiring. I'm already like super jazzed for this.
Oh, well,
Isn't that something else? Wow. So I guess
a church. Oh, I'm sorry.
no, go ahead.
So this church saw this. They saw this on Good Morning Texas. They showed up, and he says, I just want to hear the story myself. And I sat there in a tiny house. And when they walked up, it was like 150 degrees outside in Texas. It's get hot. It was hot. We had all the tiny houses, all air conditioned. And this church shows up, and I said, don't y'all want to come in? And they was like, no, we just want to look at this. This is absolutely gorgeous. And they said, we love this so much. They said, are you going to use all of this land to build tiny houses? I said, no, sir, we don't own the land. Long story short, he said, you find land and we'll buy it for you. And we bought 11.5 acres actually next door from where the tiny house community was built. And it is in the gateway of Dallas's only four-year university, UNT Dallas. So now we've got 11.5 acres, and I came in thinking we were going to get to do tiny houses. They were like, no, baby, you're not putting tiny houses in front of the college. They said, we need high density. We need housing for the faculty of the college. We need housing for the police department. So I said, Lord, how am I going to do this? I need help. And that's when he started putting people in line. So one or two Black women called me and says, I know nothing about development, but I will help you. Can I shadow you? And I said, well, let me think about it. Because I'm thinking, I need some really experienced people. And the Lord said, you asked for a blessing. You said you wanted help. I'm sending it to you, and they're turning it down. By the third person that called me, asked me to shadow, I said, come on. And we went from 1 and we're at 7 Black women who said, you give me a chance to learn this, I'll stick with you. I'll be your ride or die, and we could do this together. And I said, I tell you what, if you do that, I'll make you a co-developer. I will sell you land so you can build whatever you want to build on this development. And we're making it happen.
Absolutely.
Look at there. Anybody have any questions for her before I chime in with some questions? Dana, I see Dana, Anthony, Doug, Trevor.
I want to say congratulations. I'm actually in the car, so hopefully it's not echoing too much. But congratulations for seeing a need, starting with fathers, but specifically for our veterans who are overlooked and underserved for serving our country. Thank you. Thank you, Valerie, and what you do partners well with what Kelly does for these young girls learning to be architects, and for what Stephanie does. So this collaboration is clearly a natural one. But what you failed to do is to include me, because I want a tiny house. I'm in Atlanta, but I will travel to shadow. I promise you that.
Yes.
But
He's in
up the
Atlanta.
great work.
Mhm.
Keep up the great work. Thank you.
You're so welcome. Thank you.
Yes, yes, yes.
Thank you.
What's
Go ahead.
what's one piece of encouragement that you could have given yourself in your first month or two when you were going through this? Like, what's one thing that your now future self would love to have told your past self?
Mm. Mm.
At what age or what stage?
Well, like when you started all this, right? Like it was like, oh my gosh, and then like I'm sure, I mean, I'm an entrepreneur and I've gone through all of these stages where it's like, I always joke like, God's success rate with me is 100%, but it doesn't stop me from going, well, what about now, God? Like, what about this? Are you sure you got this? I know you've had everything else, but I don't trust you right now. Like and that's like a human story, but like what's when you started down this path, what is one thing that your today self would have loved to have been able to tell yourself then?
Trust God.
That's right.
If he brings it to you, he's going to bring you through it. And don't worry about where the resource is going to come from,
Wow.
right? Because whatever God orders, he pays for.
Period.
Yes. Kelly says that all the time.
And this is why I say that we're a perfect alignment. And the beautiful thing is, so one thing that Valerie didn't hit on is the fact that when we teamed up together, originally we said, oh, we're gonna build some cute little playhouses for some community centers and homeless shelters. And do they really need a playhouse? Probably not. And so we said, you know what? We're going to do something even more impactful. We are going to be building ADU units, basically tiny houses for the unhoused veterans. Do you know that there are a lot of single moms that are living out of their cars? A lot of people don't know that. We found out that there are homeless college students that are homeless. Like, what is this? These college students are going to college with no place to live.
Right.
Make it make sense here in America. I said I did not understand that for the life of me. And so I definitely do not understand a veteran going and serving our country and coming back and being homeless. So we have put together, Valerie and I have teamed up. Not only are we trying to figure out how to build this 11 and a half development.
We got it figured out. We got this, girl.
Not only are we doing that, but we also are going to make sure that we are teaching young girls skill trades. They're going to be learning how to build. They're going to be learning HVAC. They're going to be learning electrical, and they're going to be learning plumbing. And they're going to learn how to build these tiny houses because guess what? One day they may have to build one for maybe their aging grandmother or their aging mother or whatever, like Valerie did, build her one in her mama's backyard. I thought that was wonderful. And so this is a great, thing that we definitely are going to make sure that we do and make sure these girls have those skills they need to be successful.
And they're going to be
Absolutely.
able to watch us. We're going to mentor
Yes, that part,
them.
yes.
We're going to inspire them. Well, they say, I want to be a developer. I want
That's
a
right.
whole community. I don't want to just build a tiny house.
That's
I
right.
want a whole community just like you guys built.
That's
And
right.
we're going to
That's
give
right.
them that opportunity. And when this is all done with, you're going to see developers and future developers that
That's
are
right.
building an 11.5-acre development in Dallas.
That's right. And
Absolutely.
you'll be able to watch it on television. Let me just say
Yes.
that. This will be televised. So no matter where you're at in the country, you will be able to watch these little girls building these tiny houses. And then you'll be seeing our future developers as well.
What's one area that you need, like, I mean, we all need money, but like where? Like how are you raising dollars? Like, and are you? And then where are you looking? Obviously, faith-based organizations. I mean, I'm thinking about my church right now. I mean, we're, so where are you focusing your time? You only have so much time to call so many people and set up so many meetings. How are you doing it?
Well, let me say this. When God opens that door, you got to walk through it. And when he gives us an opportunity to show up and show out, once we get through with our story, you don't even have to ask for the money. They be going for the checkbook. What can I help you with, lady? What in the world? I've never seen this. What can I do?
Man,
So
Valerie.
I will say this is that this development sells itself. right? So we are doing some unprecedented stuff, right? Right? So when we got into this, and I went to this, I was a part of a cohort. They said the way you do these developments is that you get people to invest the money, right? And then, you got to have this history, you do this. And I was thinking, what about if I pre-sale these lots? What if I pre-sale the retail? What if I find developers and partners that say, oh, you build tiny houses, you want us to now build some sixplexes for you? I can do that. So that's what we're doing. So now people are saying, are you guys really, is this really happening? I just had a meeting this morning. She says, are you telling me that people are giving you hundreds and thousands of dollars to build on a concept? I said, yes, ma'am, they are. She's like, this is unreal. I was like, that's God's work. See? So we're pre-selling the retail. We have letters of intent for big equity partners to come in to build part of it. We have a whole organization that's putting $30 million up to build 152 units of a mid-rise.
Don't forget PGA.
Every single house on our single family area, which is in our plat number 3, is already pre-sold. PGA came out to build us a pit. They said, we're going to build these veterans a pit because it's going to get cold and we want to build this nice pit. But when they came out and they saw all that land, they said, what are y'all doing with all that land? She said, can you put a golf course in it? I was like, oh, that's a lot of space. I said, what about a putting green? They said, we're in. They've committed. We're going to go half an acre for a putting green. And guess who's paying for that? PGA.
Look at there. Isn't God awesome? One thing that you all don't know that I'm going to share, and I'm going to let Valerie and Kelly expound on that. They've already partnered and had a conversation with the mayor of Dallas. And so the mayor of Dallas and maybe some other officials have met with them to have a discussion with them regarding that. And I think at first, as Valerie mentioned, somebody else wanted to get the land, but Valerie knew that God blessed her with that land. And I'm going to let Valerie and Kelly tell you all about that meeting with the mayor of Dallas. And the reason why I'm sharing this is that the fact that they want to do something for our homeless people, so with her saying money's coming in, a homeless person doesn't have to worry about financial, right? Because they don't have it. But she's making a place to help with our homeless. And so with us doing that, I say us, because I'm a partner. Somehow, some way, y'all fitting me in there somewhere. But as a partner, we want to be able to spread this. And with Global Chamber being globally and 525 metros, Dana already said she's going to connect you with the mayor of Atlanta because they're going to do this in Atlanta. So she's about to, and Dana makes things, she's a mover and shaker. And as other people hear this, because this goes on our Global Chamber YouTube, you're going to get many, many more calls. So make sure, again, put your name and your LinkedIn information in our chat. And at the end, we have some slides so people can go on a QR code as well, just to see how they can partner. So I'm going to pass it back over to Kelly and Valerie. Let's have a conversation about the Dallas mayor. And then I have Diana on here also with UT Dallas. We're partnering with them on their homeless activities with their college students that you mentioned, Kelly. There's things that they're doing at other universities are coming to Dallas College to say, how are you all doing that? Stephanie Harris is the director over basic needs for the college students. They're doing a phenomenal job. We'll probably have another panel discussion and include you and Nicole, and we're just going to make this grow. And I'm sure someone in Austin, UT Austin or Houston or wherever other cities that we have our executive directors in connection with colleges, so we can talk about that, because that may be something, again, I think Kelly has, let me not mess it up. Kelly's like, Stephanie, don't you dare mess this up. Dash.
Yes. Well, actually, that's Valerie and I.
Yes, Valerie and I. So for the Dallas, Austin, San Antonio, Houston.
Yeah, would you like me to tell them about it?
Yeah, go ahead.
Sure. So actually what we are doing, we mentioned that this will be a television show. So what Valerie and I have, our organizations, Women Leading Technology and Operation Tiny House, have partnered So that what we're going to be doing is we're going to be doing a show called Dash with the Playful Builders, the Unhoused Project. What Dash stands for is Dallas, Austin, San Antonio, and Houston. And what we're going to be doing, the girls are going to be building ADU units on television, where you are going to be able to see it from the ground up, how they go about building them, how they go about doing the electrical, plumbing, HVAC. You will be able to see all of that, and you'll be able to vote on your favorite team every week. That way they can earn some different things, whether it's flooring, whether it's a roof, whether it's materials that they need to finish building out their home, special things that they want to get. You will be people's choice. Will be able to call in and say, hey, I like team 1 this week, or I like team 2 this week. And then you will actually be able to really help these girls to shine and be able to create these ADU units, tiny houses that will be going to the unhoused. But it's going to be teaching them skills, but it's also going to be addressing the homelessness. Go ahead, Val.
Yeah, so talk about past experiences that you go through and you recognize, hey, how is this really adding value? God, why do you have me doing this?
Mm-hmm.
I was contacted by a show, you guys may know it. It's called Tiny House Nation, right?
Yes,
So,
yes.
so John and Zach, they contacted me and they said, hey, Valerie, we want you to be on our show. So they sent people here to interview us. And here I'm thinking, oh my God, we're going to get to be on Tiny House Nation. They did not like my sponsor. They did not like my sponsor. They said he was boring. He wasn't going to keep people's attention. And I was like, so we get kicked out because of the sponsor? It's not good. But here we are, come all the way around. And here's Kelly now saying, let's do this, building these tiny houses on TV. And I'm like, I'm in. We've done that. But believe me, I will not be saying we're going to do this in one day.
No, hold on. This is the funny part. When you talked about your one-day experience, which brings me back to Good Morning America. So we on Good Morning America, and they want us to build a playhouse on Good Morning America in one day. And I'm just like, okay, so how are we going to do this? We can't turn them down. But how are we going to make this happen with these little babies on TV? They come in with the television crew, and I'm just like, Lord have mercy. Okay, we got to figure this out. So I said, okay, let's do this. Let's see. Let's go ahead and pre-build it a little bit the day before. They won't know it when they come here, and we'll just tell them, hey, you don't mind if we just finish it out on television. We didn't even get a chance to even finish it out on television, but they cut it in such a way that it looked like we finished it out.
Did it in one day. Yeah.
So,
I didn't get that privilege my first time around.
Right.
I really didn't.
I'm like,
wow, there's
Yeah.
such a wealth of information. We may have a part 2. We do have some people that have questions. Dana has her hand raised. If anyone else, I just want to make sure we give enough time for people to ask questions, and then also for me to share some information on slides so people will know how to either donate. We do have a couple of things that's up and coming in regards to their event. So Dana, do you have a question, or did she jump off?
I have a question for you ladies. I noticed that Anthony was asking how his church could get involved and help and contribute. So I like the fact that there's more people that's interested in supporting this venture. And then the other question I have, because I look at the model for Habitat for Humanity that President Carter has put together, and it really works well because not only are they building homes for families in need, but they are allowing the families to be a part of that building process. So they have some skin in the game, and they're not just giving something, but they're building it, and there's a pride with that. So my question is there any place and space for new owners, recipients of these homes, to be a part of the building process so that they can have a contribution and a pride with building it?
Yes. Let me ask. You want me to answer?
Absolutely, yes. So I absolutely love that model. And Operation Tiny House, we use the same model. So the tiny houses that our veterans are living in, those tiny houses was built in partnership with our sponsors. So one of our largest sponsors, Santander, right? Some people in the United States call them Santander, but they're Santander. Those tiny houses were built with veterans who work for that company. So we did the same thing with Comerica Bank. We did the same thing with our partners. When you sponsor a tiny house, your employees get to come out and work on that tiny house and be a part of that development as well. And we'll be doing the same thing with at the college in that area. If you have a church or a group that is willing to say, hey, you know what, we want to come out, we want to do some volunteer labor, and we want to be a part of building, we would allow that to happen. Now we have a plaque, where the sixplex, they'll be a part of being that. They can come in and help build. And so we're open to that. It's a sponsorship. The church or the group, what they do is they make a donation to the organization. What do we do with that donation? We buy lumber with that donation. We buy tools so that when they come out, they can help us put that together. So we're open to anyone that wants to come. I know you guys are all over the globe, but if you know people locally, or if you want to make it a trip, a mission trip to come, when we get to that stage and we're ready to raise the walls and build that, we would be happy to have you to be a sponsor.
The timing of this is so crazy. So this is literally happening right now. Over the next 6 weeks, we're building in my church. I'm in Argyle, Texas, so I'm like
Okay.
just south of Denton. I'm in Denton County, and
Yes.
we're building. So we bought some land that we're going to build our church, a future church on, but it's just essentially some land. We have a small church building there now. But we're building a small 3-2 house for $80,000 is what we raised, and we're building it, and we're actually shipping it to McAllen. So we're building it here. All the members of our church are building it on the weekends, like all the pieces, and then we're moving it down there. But it's like a 3-2. It's essentially a glorified double wide. I mean, it's $80,000. You can't buy a double wide for $80,000 now, So I mean, it's not a double wide, but anyway, we literally just got raised all the money, just got all this set up, and we're delivering it on March 13th. But it's such an interesting, it's a different concept, but so I love what you guys are doing. One, it's replicable. It seems like something you can just do over and over and over again, which makes you faster at it, which makes your quality better at it. I mean, it's such a delight what you guys are doing. It's such an honor to have you guys on and hear about the good work that you're doing and how you're serving your community. We need more of this.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
So what I want to, we have about 15 minutes and I want to make sure we get other people to ask questions, but things I want to share. One, I want to say thank you, Kelly, and thank you, Valerie. They do have an investment for Change Mixer coming up on January 30th, which is this Thursday from 6 to 8:30. It's going to be in Dallas off of Linden. There's a QR code there for you to either QR code to invest or to register to attend this event. They have a lot of people that's already committed to being there. I would say anywhere from 40 to 50 people. So I think it'd be great if you all truly have some interest, you want to be there. But these are our girls, and I'll say our girls with Women Leading Technology. They built playhouses. They are on fire. They have a lot of other things that's coming up that Kelly hasn't shared about a book. I mean, it is phenomenal what these girls have done. I mean, she really empowers these young girls. She had girls from 5. She had a 4-year-old, and someone said, "Can my 4-year-old go?" Kelly won't say no. And the 4-year-old was there helping building all the way up to college students, and it was phenomenal. But I have here the QR code Invest for Change Mixer that's coming up this Thursday. There's a QR code there. Wanted to leave that there. Kelly's what she's also doing, what she does annually. This will be her 5th year, and please correct me if I'm wrong, Kelly. They have a fundraising event that's coming up on April 12th. Here goes a QR code there as well if you need to register for that event. It's going to be a Gatsby theme, and it has also casino night. That's always great as well. There's limited tables to be limited seating. She's allowing 160 people at this event. So if you're interested in being there, learning more about it, being able to support, being able to give back to the community, we would love for you all to participate in that event there. I want to stop here about any questions that other people may have. And then I'm definitely going to make sure our CEO, Doug, speaks, have an opportunity to speak. So is there any questions that anyone has? Can I
Before you do
share
the
this?
questions, can I say one thing?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so I just want to be very clear that this is, both of those events are Women Leading Technology and Operation Tiny House partnering
Yes,
together. So
absolutely.
so we're doing those because those events help us to help the unhoused. So both of those events are for that, for the ADU tiny houses that we're building for the unhoused.
Absolutely. Thank you. Sorry about that. Thank
That's
you for adding that. So, Manny, do you have any question? Diana, Ursula, Sayali, Alex? Anyone have any questions before we go on to the next slides?
I was looking at the tiny house website. So if you have more resources, Valerie, I would like to connect with you. I do have a couple of introductions that I can pass it on your way, which will be help both of you in a mutual way. And good to learn about your work. Kelly, I was halfway through when your slides were going through, but I would love to connect with you as well.
Wonderful.
Thank you.
Dr. Liddell, do you have any questions? Dr. Kelly? Prosper's gone. Trevor? Okay. Oh, there you go.
Well, actually, I do. I know y'all talked about Atlanta a little bit earlier, but like, what about rural areas? Just off the beaten path, maybe, somewhere out in the boonies in Mississippi somewhere, that might benefit from this. What kind of info can you guys give to organizations in really small places around the country?
Well,
Or
funny
outside
that
of the
you say
country?
that. Valerie can speak about a rural area that, was saving that question for last. So Valerie, share about a rural area, some work that you've done already.
Right. So I got a call from one of my sponsors that said that there was another female veteran who lived in a rural area and she really, really needed some help. And I went down, I took a look at it, and she had these really, really tiny houses. Our tiny houses are about 125 square feet to 120 to 25 square feet, right? So no, up to 140. But you talk about micro tiny houses. She had tiny houses that was like, it looked like it was like 40 square feet, right? And I went, oh my God, you cannot put veterans in a box. So we took our tiny houses from Dallas and we
That sounds like
relocated
prison.
yes, it was. And we took our tiny houses to Palmer, Texas, so that we could collaborate with her. And we now have veterans staying in our tiny houses in Palmer, Texas. Great fit, because guess what? Dallas, Texas does not allow tiny houses on wheels. So we were never legal in Dallas. But see, we never had veterans living. So it was a win-win, because she had veterans from the Dallas VA that needed houses. We needed a space to put the tiny houses. So it worked out as a great collaboration. But I will say this, is that although we're working on this 11 and a half acres that does not include tiny houses, but what we are still doing is we will have these networking opportunities to give out and disseminate information to people who want to do tiny house communities in other areas, right? So we're still going to do that. I brought somebody on board. Her name is we call her Z. Her name is Zantel Squiggly. She is going to be working on the Operation Tiny House side while I'm working on the University Hill side. But we're still partnering. We're partnering with DISD schools. They're building tiny houses. And I would say that too. If you are interested in having a tiny house community in a rural area, look into those schools. See if the school districts will partner with you, because they have those trades in those schools, right? And then they can partner with you, and they may partner with you, and you guys can build tiny houses. And then now you don't have to raise all the money, because people are going to put that money in those youth. Those companies will help those young people. And so I say, look at that. And I tell people, because I get tons of phone calls, I want to do a tiny house community in my area. Okay, do the research. Check to see if your rural community will allow for tiny houses on wheels. They may not take them on wheels, but they may say, well, you can build them on slabs. So every city is different.
Absolutely. And so I will venture to say, Kelly, Valerie and Kelly, not only are you willing to do it within the US, but are you all open in the future to do it globally? Other countries
Absolutely.
may need this, right? I'm not
Absolutely.
saying today or tomorrow, but
Mhm.
just imagine how many third world countries can really utilize having a place to stay. And for them, 140 square feet, that's probably luxury to where they're living now.
It's interesting you speak about the rural countries. I want to shout out to Manny Calder that's on here. His organization, and I'm gonna have him to tell you a little bit more about it. But his organization, Engineers Without Borders, and Manny, we thank you so much because Manny actually gave us a great connection to help us with the development. Thank you, Manny. But his organization, what they do is they build out water filtration systems in rural areas in third world countries, and so we would definitely, love to be on that same trajectory as far as like doing those houses and all of that. And it'd be great to partner even with his organization as they building out the filtration systems and we can build a house. Yeah.
Manny, did you want to say something?
Yeah, thanks, Kelly, for that shout out. And that's why I came on here to support and listen in to the great work you are doing. But yeah, Kelly, a reference to Engineers Without Borders. So I lead our local chapter here in DFW. And if you're familiar with Engineers Without Borders, there's lots of different chapters that do lots of different work around the world. We specifically focus in Bolivia doing water filtration, water distribution systems because water is the foundation of life. So if we don't have clean water, you don't have life. And it's been great to be going back year after year, seeing health improve, less birth defects, all these different things. So, the more partnerships, the better, and any support we welcome. So thanks for the shout out, Kelly.
Thank you
Absolutely.
so
Thank
much,
you for being
Manny.
a great partner too.
Yes.
And Manny actually works for Jacobs as well, Jacobs Engineering Firm, and they're one of our sponsors, and we appreciate them for that.
Yeah,
And they
thank you very
also
much.
and they also send people out to help us. They do hands-on too. So when you
Wonderful.
are hands-on with your partners, they're one of the ones that do that.
Well,
So
thank you.
You
I'm
have
sorry,
to
go
know
ahead,
that
Valerie.
I get asked this all the time. They're like, "Hey, what about coming here? Hey, can you go here?" I have told my co-developers I am one and done with this development.
That's what she
That's what I
thinks.
say.
That's
They
what she
tell
thinks.
me that's not true. You're gonna do something. So was that Anthony? You asked me about that young one. Remember, I told you I was hard-headed, right? So God will say, Valerie, I'm gonna need you to go over to another country and build a tiny house community. My first response is like, come on, God, what? Do I have to? I'm very hard-headed. I was hoping that because I've been an entrepreneur since I was 21 years old and I'm 60 and I'm like, can I get a retirement somewhere in here between these assignments? So I got to pray about it, Stephanie. I
Well,
really
look how God's keeping you in your youth, because I thought you were 29. So God is giving you the energy. So look at the blessing. Look at God. He's keeping you youthful. Moses, I think it lived up to 900, and Methuselah, so you're
my
actually
God.
you're a young prophet,
Yeah.
young Christian.
I'll just have to see where God leads me. But I will
Absolutely.
always be an open book and always a resource.
Absolutely.
If he brings you to it, he will equip you for it, as you said, until you're 90.
That's right.
Yes. Well, hey guys, we got 4 minutes left. I want to make sure that I go through the rest of the presentation, but I want to first say thank you so much, Kelly Flowers and Valerie Ballard. I think we're going to have a part 2 to this, and so just look out for that. Really excited. I want to share with you who was on our advisory board. I mentioned you all today who I was. I mentioned to you who's our board chair, which is Anthony Piccolo. We have Jacob Dietz, who's on our advisory board, Nelson Alvarado, Jennifer Thornton, who's on our board. We have Jean Garas Moviston, which is Dede. We have Stephanie Harris. What I mentioned to you, she's the Dean of Basic Needs at Dallas College. We have Jeff Pappas, who's on the advisory board, Prosper Jetty, Michael Wesley Walker. We have Diana Urataro, and we have several other advisory board members positions open, but we have a lot of members in our Dallas DFW area. As I mentioned early on, I told you who we are, what Global Chamber does. If you're interested in joining, here is our link here. You go, make sure you choose the Dallas as the metro area. If you want more discussion about Global Chamber, I'll be more than happy to share that with you. Global Chamber is what you make it. We tell people that if you're not engaged, you're not involved, then you don't see the benefit of it. But if you are engaged and involved, Anthony, as our board chair, can tell you how beneficial, and several others, how beneficial it has been to be a Global Chamber member. Just don't take my word for it. Then you have Dana also. She's the executive director of Atlanta. I just want to say thank you for joining us today. I believe we have Ruby here from Kenya. She's the ED there. We have people from all over the world. We have Terry, that's here as well. So how to get involved, here's our link, our QR code. You can scan that. Again, as I mentioned, you can also reach out to me. So we had some discussion. Here goes some, we have some upcoming events. Global Chamber has over 600 events a year. Several of them are virtual because we're global, right? And several of them are in person. We do have some upcoming events. Our Global Women Online Networking, that is phenomenal. Women, you don't want to miss that. Men, you know, you can join in and listen also if you like, but this is just a great platform for women networking and bouncing ideas off of one another, what's going on, what's going well. We have the Global Virtual League of Extraordinaire, Global Health and Wellness, the value of international arbitration for your business, Global Chamber exporting, importing, FDI news. We just have a wealth of information that we do there at Global Chamber. How to get in touch with Valerie, that's her QR code to hide her contact information. If you want to go to the Investment for Change Mixer that is in person here in Dallas, there's a QR code there. If you're interested in going to the WLT Gala event or donation, there's the QR code there. But I don't want, I don't want to miss who we have online. We have our CEO of Global Chamber who's here with us today, David Brunke. I believe he's here, or either Cesar. I would love for them to chime in and say a few words before we close. Doug, Cesar? Are they here? Let me stop sharing. I thought I saw Doug or... Nope. Okay, he was here earlier. So just the words that I would say, that I believe Doug would say, is that thank you all so much. Global Chamber is here to support entrepreneurs, medium-sized business, Fortune 500, how we can connect, being engaged. There's a wealth of information within our organization. And not only do we want to just help people who are here within your own state, but we have resources in every city in our state of Texas, as well as in Atlanta, as well as in New York, as well as in California, Nevada, all across the United States and across the pond. Katie, Keith, and Ruby. Is Ruby here? Yes, Ruby. Ruby's here. I mean, they are phenomenal executive directors. And I'm going to let Ruby say a few things, if she can, before we close. Ruby? Where did she go?
Hi, everyone.
That's my sister in Christ.
It's been refreshing to hear what you're doing out there. And definitely, it does relate to us in Ghana because we do have need for housing. And I think that there's so many things that we can do together. I'll be delighted to reach out to Valerie and Kelly to see what is possible in my market. Thank you.
Thank you so
Stephanie.
much. Thank you. Is there anyone else who have any last parting words before we end?
I did drop the link in the chat, which is the WFAA article. It's the video. It'll give you a look at the tiny house community that was here in Dallas that's now moved to Palmer, Texas.
Wonderful. And everyone, if you want to save all the information that's in the chat, if you go to the three dots and click on the three dots there, it'll say save chat and it will save it to your computer. It'll have everyone's information on there, the information, the links that was dropped in here. You'll be able to be able to access everyone later on. Thank you all so much. Again, thank you, Valerie. Thank you, Kelly, for your time. We appreciate the wealth of information and we look forward to what's coming next.
Thank you guys for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.